Margarita, really, great, great. So you are in Los Angeles. I am in Paris. But we can speak about the new album. First, my first question will be about tour you did. One of the first tour you did in Europe. It was with Sonata Artica. It was with Temple Both too. You're in special guest. You play in Paris. It was 2 December 2019 in the machine just near from the Moulin Rouge. What remembering do you have of this day in Paris and of the show, of course?
Sorry, can you say it again a little louder? For some reason,
You
the
want
sound.
I speak again? I do the question again. Uh,
Sorry, I can't hear
do,
you.
do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you better now. Yeah, if you can speak louder just a little bit. I'm sorry.
Ah, louder. All right. I try to be okay. I try to be louder. Yeah, you like it loud. uh, is it good now? When
Yes, it's
I
better. No, Paris is far away. I can't hear you all the way from there.
so, just I tell I speak about the last tour you did in Europe. It was a
Yeah.
long tour with Sonata Artica. It was
Hmm.
with Temple Bows. You play in Paris. It was 2 December 2 years ago
Yeah.
in the machine. So I see that you spent a beautiful day in Paris. What remembering do you have of the show and about this day you spent in Paris?
Yes, it was such a beautiful day. I love Paris. I was there one time when I was 20. And I was so excited that we're playing right next to Moulin Rouge as well. So, and we have such amazing friends in Paris. Our friend and longtime fan, Olivier, he came with his wife, and um, they showed us Paris right before the show. So they took us to see really beautiful parts of Paris, and we had a really beautiful dinner. And then we had a show, and then after the show, uh, him along with some of our other friends, they took us to see the Eiffel Tower, and we took the subway, and we had to make it back for our tour bus to leave. So they had everything planned out so we would make it in time. And when we saw the Eiffel Tower, we caught the moment where the lights flicker. Uh, so
Yeah.
yeah, it was a really beautiful time. We love everything about France, the people, the culture, the food, and we just really hope to be back soon.
I see that you go also to Montmartre
Yeah.
for a painter like you. I suppose it was a great moment to see all these guys who do some painting and like that, or who did the portrait. Did you do your portrait by a painter in Paris?
Yeah, well, I grew up. My mom is an artist, so I grew up watching her paint, and there's so many painters I love. And I remember when we were in Paris, when we were walking up to check out a cathedral, there was a street full of painters, and you could see them painting through the window. And like when we look at their work, like it's just incredible, and they're right in front of you painting. So I mean, that's what I really love about France and Europe in general, is that there's so much culture right in front of your eyes. In America, we don't really get to see that unless you really go out to like an art festival, and like you have to seek it out. Whereas in Europe, Paris, everything is like right there, and you're kind of immersed in it. So yeah, and then I love to paint, and one of my favorite painters is Monet. Also, I mean, of course, I love Da Vinci. I love Ivazovsky. Um, yeah, so it's a big part of my life.
That's why finally you choose this name, Monet, Margarita Monet. It's an homage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember how that came about, actually. Um, I mean, obviously, I love the painter. I just like, I don't know what made me move from New York to Los Angeles. I feel like kind of life, maybe I had an idea and I thought it might sound cool, but, of course, art has something to do with it. But yeah, it's a mystery. Sometimes life just
I was finally when you tour for with Sonata, you get a new album. It was a universe. How was the reception of the new track? I suppose you play many new tracks from the album at this time. How was the reception on stage on the tour and in Paris and in France too? Because you play many shows in France.
Yeah, but can you say the middle part again? Because LA is very loud outside.
I say, how was the reception of the new tracks of the last album at this moment? It was your universe.
Yeah.
You play many shows in France, you play in Limoges, you play in Panier, and of course you play every in Europe. So how was the reception of the new tracks of Universe?
Yes, reception was really good. We were so happy with how people, because a lot of the people never heard of us. But with technology these days, a lot of people came up to us and they're like, "Well, we saw you on the poster with Sonata Arctica, and we looked up your Spotify, and they liked what they heard." So I was a bit nervous because Sonata Arctica, they've been a band for a very long time, and of course people go to see them, and their music is a bit different from ours. So, and it was our big first European tour, so we just didn't really know exactly what to expect. We were just there to, you know, put on the best show that we can and just share the music with people. And we were really happy with the outcome, and people are so welcoming. I do remember we were in Belgium, and Belgium crowd is, every city, every country, the crowd is a bit different. For example, when we were in like Slovakia, Eastern
Mhm.
Europe, people are so loud, and like after the show, they come and they hug you and like they kiss you on the head. So, um, people are very like expressive. In Belgium, we thought people hated us because they were very quiet and they clap, but they weren't as expressive as like some other cities we were right before. So we're like, oh my god, they hated us. But then like they bought the most merch and they were coming up after the show, wanting to meet us and saying how much they enjoyed it. So yeah, we were just really surprised and pleasantly surprised, and it was just really interesting to see how you know how different it is, the I guess the culture, and they're really respectful and um, more reserved. So, and it was the same thing when we were in Japan. People are more reserved and like really respectful. uh, but it doesn't mean you can't judge it by how people react. So it's just something um, you know that was interesting to experience.
So yes, you did a long tour. You begin the 11th of November. You finish the 14th of December. Do you appreciate the life on the road finally? Because it was really a huge tour, a real tour, with many gigs each day. Do you appreciate the life to be on the bus on tour and what happened on a long tour like that?
Uh, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's almost like you're in another reality. It's like an escape from reality. I remember when we were going back, when the tour was over, we were all like, back to the back to the real world. Um, um, I was nervous about because it was a long tour and the shows were back to back. We only had I think 4 or 5 days off, spread out. So I was just nervous because it was also in the winter. We were coming up on the winter months, and we started in Sweden, so it was freezing. I was just nervous about not getting sick, and it was right before the pandemic. And I remember bringing masks, and I was like the only one wearing masks on the plane and in the bus, just because if I lose my voice, I'm pretty much screwed. So I was trying to be really careful, and everybody on the tour bus got sick except for me. I really, yeah, because that's when everything kind of was starting out. Um, but yeah, everything went well, and we all survived. And what I like about it is that you're kind of it's fast paced, but you're just so fully immersed in it that you kind of immerse in the rhythm of it all, and then all the cities, you just get overwhelming amount of um, cities that like a lot of us haven't seen any of these countries before, because we went to like over 20 countries, and all the people, we all love the food. European food is our favorite. We got to spend our Thanksgiving in Italy. um but yeah, I mean, we haven't I'm just, all of us are really looking forward to getting back to touring, because I think it's definitely our favorite thing to do, is to meet all the people across the world. I see, different places, experience different cultures, and share our music. So I'm just looking forward to the next time.
And how was your relationship with the guys of Sonata Artica and the Pearl Ball?
They're really great people. We shared a tour bus with a band from Finland, Temple Balls. They opened the tour, and they were really fun young guys. Um, Sonata Arctica guys, they're a little bit more mellow, because they've been doing this for over 20 years, and they're just, they were really supportive and really nice. We all had great time hanging out, so we all got along great, and yeah, can't complain. So it was a great tour overall.
Do you have some anecdote or something who happened on the tour? I suppose there are many, but something that you never forget from this tour, on this tour.
Well, I mean, so many things, because, well, a lot of people that have been following the band for over 10, since we started, pretty much, a lot of them live in those countries, and we've never met them before, so it was so special to finally see them face to face and share the music live. So those are always unforgettable experiences. Um, of course, spending and getting to know those people. Also, I remember the last show of the tour, Sonata Arctica played a prank with us on us. The singer of Sonata Arctica, he came on stage brushing his teeth. So I'm like looking into the audience, and people they're like, look, and they all start laughing. So I turn around and I see him like brushing his teeth on stage. That was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I think, of course, seeing all the cities, I just think the real unforgettable experiences is when people come to the show and they just show their appreciation, and they bring you gifts, and just seeing how our music has meaning to people. That's what's really unforgettable, and that's why we do this. It's the most rewarding thing. So.
Did you finally, when you are on tour like that, did you take care of your voice? I mean, you are very beautiful voice, very high. So I suppose you must do be careful about your voice. Do you do something special before show on the tour?
Yeah, well, I really tried to get enough sleep. I don't drink, so I think that relieves a lot of what potentially could go wrong, because like alcohol for the voice is not the best thing. So I always try to drink a lot of warm tea with like honey and stuff. um yeah, I mean, I just brought a bunch of like vitamins with me just because I was paranoid, so I don't lose my voice. But yeah, I mean, for me, like ginger, lemon with tea is something that really helps me. So I just drink it throughout the day. And
So finally, yes, it was 2 years ago. Finally, you came back in your country. And when did you begin to write, to work on this new album? Will came this 17 September, the Unknown. Uh, do you work when you came back of the tour in Europe, or do you wait a little?
well, we're always working on music. So when we came back, we did kind of start writing new songs just because that's what we like to do. Um, we knew before the next tour we had a few months, so we called up our producer Mike Plotnikoff, and we wanted to, record something. So we started with what is now a song, Tidal Wave, and that's when Mike told me that he has Neil from 3 Days Grace, who was zooming in from Canada, and Neil wanted to be part of the session, and that's how we connected with Neil. Now that's when we first started hearing about this virus and how it's coming to the US, and things were started to get a little weird. So we just kept recording, and honestly, when things started to shut down, we still thought that our tour with Hammerfall in September was still going to happen, because who would have thought this pandemic would last this long? We definitely didn't. I remember, messaging with Beast in Black, who was also going to be part of the tour, and that was their first time coming to the U.S. And we were like, it's going to be fine. We were, holding on till the very last moment before we knew that the rest of the 2020 is going to get canceled. So, yeah, I mean, we started recording right away, but I don't think we anticipated recording the whole album. But, as pandemic took hold, we just continued. And, the album, The Unknown, was born out of this unknown. So, yeah, what happened.
So I suppose, yes, of course, the impact of the COVID will begin in March. What kind of impact the COVID had on this album? I mean, do you change many things? Do you have more time to write, and finally you write more songs? What happened finally with the impact of the COVID for the band and for you as a writer?
Yeah. I always write songs that are kind of that in a way are thought provoking, and I knew I wanted to make this album kind of a continuation of Universe and just take it up a notch. And then all the songs are kind of set in these larger than life settings, but all the songs, the emotional side of the songs are very relatable to what we kind of go on experience on daily basis. So I think the pandemic, when we were in studio, we had very interesting discussions. I think it pushed us to think about the future and the implications of technology and just where our future is headed. And of course, we had like um, a bit of apocalyptic thoughts, just because of what was going on. Like, you would walk into a grocery store and the shelves were empty. I mean, of course, like we talked about every conspiracy theory out there, and I don't know if that specifically had the impact on the songs. I think the mood overall definitely did. Um, I think it fueled me to really ask bigger questions, because a lot of the album has to do with how human mind and technology, when it comes together, what could be the impact of that on our future. But I also like to explore, like, what it's the possibility of living to forever, through the use of the technology. So I think the shutdown also pushed us to focus on the music just because we didn't really have much else to do. So we had plenty of time to really immerse ourselves in this new album. And, I think this is our silver lining because this is our best music. And we were able to make something out of this really, bad situation.
So finally, you go in studio. It was I read it was in November of last year, 2020. It was in the West Valley recording studio. I see some image of you in recording your voice. How was it? You work with Howard Benson, who worked for many great bands too, Chemical Romance, Alestorm. How was this time, this recording? Do you change something compared to the last one? How do you work this time in studio?
How do I what?
How do you work in studio this
Oh,
time
okay,
with Howard Benson?
yeah.
Benson in France, it was about coffee. We have some coffee, we call that Benson. But so how was the work in studio for you and for the band in the West Valley recording studio?
Yes. We love that studio. That's kind of like our second home. Our producer is Mike Plotnikoff, and he introduced us to Neil Sanderson, from 3 Days Grace. And when we started working with Neil and Mike, we really connected, so that he kind of became part of the team. So he's our second producer. And then as we kept working, Howard Benson, the studio was Valley Studios, is actually Howard Benson's studio. So when he heard the songs, he took interest in the band and he became our producer as well. So we have a big production team. I actually re-sang some of the songs with
Three
Howard.
producers. It
Sorry,
was how was it for you? I mean, especially about the recording of the voice. Do you was it was it a challenge to get better? I don't know, to try to experience some new thing on this album as a singer.
Yeah. When I go into recording, like we demo up all the songs in our home studio. So I already kind of know what I want my voice to sound like, and I kind of let the song lead the way. And a lot of the times the song is very demanding. So whatever I think I really grew as a singer on this album because I kind of gave into the songs, and in the studio I don't set any limitations to what I think I can do. So I think that kind of leaves the doorway open to get to really expanding as a singer. So I was able to really push myself, and especially when I started working with Howard, I think Howard heard a different side of my voice, and he pushed me to bring out that edge that I think I didn't have before on the other albums. And I think you can really hear that on Digital Paradise. There's a certain aggressive edge to my voice that I think I discovered on this album with the help of Howard. And I'm just really happy how the songs turned out. I know the title track, The Unknown, that was a really emotional song for me to record. That's probably one of my favorite songs. It's one of those songs that I think that I would write. It's a one of a lifetime type of a song. And I hope I think so far people are really connecting to it. It's a very unique song because it starts off very fragile on a softer side. It's a very cinematic song, but the chorus is just so strong and really showcases the depth of the band. That song was really hard for me to record just because of how emotional it is to me. I think I started like crying the first time I recorded, just because um, it's my heart and soul in the song. And so yeah, I mean, nothing is easy. You know, recording an album is not easy, especially from the kind of the. We always set our bar really high, and we wanted to create something really special. So even though it wasn't, it's hard to say that it's difficult or easy. Nothing is easy, but it was definitely an experience to record this album.
So finally, you choose to call this album the Endo. That is because it's your favorite song.
Yeah, it's hard to say that it's my favorite song. The songs are my favorite because I know what went into them, and every song has something special. But The Unknown, it's just really close to my heart, and it's one of those songs that I think I wrote it in like an hour before I showed it to Dave. So the song wrote itself. It's like the universe kind of gave me the song. So yeah.
Is it finally what is the red line between the songs? You have all a little concept. It's not really an album concept, but there are a whole idea behind this album. How was this born? Is this idea, and what do you try finally gave to people with this album? I mean about the lyrics.
Yeah. You know, some people say that they take it as a concept album. I never looked at it as a concept album, but there's definitely an underlying theme, and it's in a way a continuation of Universe, because we have this sort of a sci-fi futuristic theme going on with the band. And you know, with this album, we definitely explore a lot of what our future might look like with technology, and the possibility of you know, uploading our consciousness into a computer and maybe living forever through that. Um, Also, I think the main heart of the album are the lyrics. Inside the silence of my mind, I find the strength in the unknown. So even though we do explore all these um, possibilities, and we really push the boundaries of the reality with these songs, I think the main thing is that we want to empower people to not fear the unknown. Instead, change the narrative and find strength in the unknown. So, whether it is wondering what's beyond this life, or whether it is wondering what tomorrow would bring, or the unknown of the pandemic, or the unknown of where where the humanity is heading. I think having an open mind and certain fearless to you is our doorway into a brighter future. So.
It was I see that finally for this album you get two new members in the band. It was the drummer Jamie Moreno, and the bassist Ricky Bonanza. So like the Western story, Bonanza, all Western story. But how do you meet them, and how finally what did they bring to the band and to the recording and to the whole band?
Yeah. So Jamie is a really amazing drummer. And, a lot of the reasons for the lineup changes has to do with the commitment to the band. And, for example, the band to me and Dave, who co-founded the band with me, this is kind of our life. And David Ruiz, who's a rhythm guitar player in the band, has been with us for over 5 years now, so he is definitely a solid member. So we always seek to have this unity in the band, so all of us are there to move the band forward. So when we found Jamie, he had really similar ambitions and he really loved the music and he wanted to be in it 100%. And he is very creative and he brings a certain energy to the band. So he actually played on the entire album because, for example, on Universe, we had Joe Ricard, who wasn't in the band, to play on the album. So a lot of the times, people use studio musicians. And, you know, that's great, but we always seek to find members that, of course, play on the albums as well. So Jamie was, you know, he was really great and he really pleasantly surprised us because Mike Plotnikoff and Neil Sanderson, who's also a drummer. And then we also record in the studio. So we had two drummers, producer, Dave and I. We were telling Jamie what to do, and he was able to take the pressure well. He was able to really adjust his playing to, for example, when we were like, oh, maybe this part, change it up. He was really able to make the changes instantly on the spot and bring the energy to the songs that the songs needed. So, you know, I think we really found our guy. And then Ricky Bonaza, he's actually a bass player for the band Butcher Babies. And so on Universe, Dave, the guitarist, he actually played bass on Universe. And then we had someone else do the tour. We had Mike Baer do the tour. So we didn't really have a bass player member when we came back from Europe, and we wanted to find one. So, I mean, when we started recording The Unknown, we were just looking for someone who could do amazing bass parts to the song, and Ricky was the guy. But since Ricky is in Butcher Babies and he wouldn't be able to commit to touring as much as we need to, because that band also tours, we found a new bass player and we will be announcing him in September. But his name is Justin, and yeah, I think now we have a really solid lineup for touring and for recording more. So we're just looking forward to finally getting out and doing some shows.
Yes, I hope that all the show will come very soon for all the bands in the world. So yeah, yes, about the you get 3 singles: My Method, Your Madness, Digital Paradise, the Unknown, also as a single. Was it easy finally? Why did you choose these songs as single, and was it easy in all the tracks you have to choose the right single before that the album came finally?
Wait, why did I choose a right? What? Say it again. Sorry.
What? Yes. Why do you choose My Method, Your Madness? Why do you choose My Method, Your Madness, Digital Paradise, and the Unknown as the single, as a new single, and the first song that everybody could hear?
Yes, got it. So these singles actually show a really great introduction to the album because they showcase different sides of the album. So for example, Digital Paradise, you can really see this sci-fi, electro, futuristic side of the band and the album. And it's also very cinematic and introduces this theme of technology and the human mind. And it leaves it open-ended for the listener to kind of decide what they think about the merging of technology and the mind. Now, My Method of Madness really showcases the energy of the band, the energy of the band members. So you really see what you would get, for example, when you come to our live show. You get introduced to the energy because the track is very upbeat. It's more on kind of pop metal side. It's very catchy track, but it also has the industrial elements. So then The Unknown really showcases the cinematic, the depth of the band, the emotional side of the band. And it's the heart of the album, so we had to include it as the single, of course, because it really introduces the album in a really great and meaningful way. So we actually have another single coming out on the 23rd of August, False Idols. And that one is definitely one of our more heavier metal tracks. So with that track, you will see the heavy side of the band, the heavy metal aspect.
So that will be the surprise at the end of the 31 of August. Beware to see the new single. Yes, yeah, you did also shooting, of course, clip video. I see two clips, two new clips. You work with Scott B. Hansen. It was totally different from what you did before. I think about Ireland and all the shot it was very digital. So that was the idea to have this kind of special clips for this new album in a digital way with a lot of effects.
Yeah, you know, each song is a little different. So, and I think our music videos are very different from each other. For example, the Digital Paradise video, there is a lot of effects. It's definitely more of a sci-fi video. And then like the Unknown music video, it's more cinematic. We went to the desert and we tried to capture the beauty of the planet, kind of similar to when we went to Iceland to film our video for Face of Fear. So yeah, I always want to capture the versatility of this band in the songs and also in the videos. So with this album, we do have more of this digital kind of edge to it, but you also see the cinematic, the epic, and symphonic side of the band, you know, in the videos and in the songs. So actually today, the reason I'm outside is I'm kind of in transit because I'm going to the music video shoot for False Idols. We did the band shoot on Sunday and we were in this like really cool sci-fi space. And then today we're teleporting to ancient Egypt. So it's a really interesting video.
Do you take a lot of fun when you work on a video, or is it a lot of work, or do you have the opportunity also to love to take a lot of fun when you work like that on a video clip?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's definitely fun as well. I just love to push the boundaries of what I think I can do, and I'm lucky to have connected with great people like Scott Hansen, who filmed Digital Paradise and The Unknown, and then we have Robin August filming this new one, False Idols, and they, you know, it's really interesting connecting with people who are here to create. They're eager to create with you, and when they hear your ideas, they're like, yes, like let's make it happen, even though it's completely crazy and we don't have like $1 million budget. You know, we the hardest thing is to figure out how to make our ideas come to life with the budget we have. So I have to, for example, I create a lot of the props, you know, a lot of like the outfits. We really try to play with the space we have, like with lighting, and just really push the limits of what we have. And you know, good thing about being in LA is we do have a lot of interesting spaces to work with, and then we also have like really cool scenery. One of my dreams is to film music videos in different parts of the world. Like we were in Iceland, we shot a music video there. I want to go to Scotland next, to Japan, and like to really cool castles of Europe. So there's a lot of places that I would love to film videos in. So.
Yeah, you are a very good actress. Perhaps one day you will do a movie. Will you like to would you like to do some I don't know on long songs to do a sort of movie, a little movie? Is it something that you will appreciate?
I would love to. I'm actually talking to a filmmaker who makes amazing. Um, he's put out a lot of films, a lot of short films as well, and all of his movies are very thought-provoking. They're kind of alongside. I think our songs and his style really fit together. So it would be awesome to collaborate on like a short film. I actually, before moving to LA, I went to theater college in New York. I went to NYU. I did theater most of my life, so that's why I love making videos. And as we keep going, as the band keeps growing, I would love to really make our videos more elaborate. Make them longer, make them more of like short films. So I would love to do that.
And what about the cover? This is yeah, it was also a sort of digital girl, a very beautiful cover. But what was the idea? Do you participate when you think about the cover? Do you participate also? I mean, in the idea for the cover. How do you work uh, together with the guy who do the cover or the girl? I don't know.
Yeah, so for this album, we actually, like Digital Paradise was released with a different cover art because it was the first single. So that the cover art I'm talking about for that song is the one where there's like a girl cyborg and then the back of it is a skull. And that one was for Digital Paradise, created by Timo Wars, and he's a German artist, and he actually made our album artworks for Universe and our EP Alive previously. And I think that was a great representation of the song because it kind of represents this merger of the human mind into a cyborg, and then hints on the idea with the skull in the back, whether, the idea of where the listener might think the outcome of this would be. So, because we wanted to leave it open ended, whether they think that it's possible for our soul to exist through this digital space, or is that our demise? And we kind of hint, with the skull is that we would just be a digital copy of ourselves. But, it's open ended. So, with the official cover art for the album, you see like this really kind of almost fantasy-like artwork that was done by Alex Ruiz, and he actually does a lot of art for Marvel. And when I saw that piece, I instantly connected to it because it just really encapsulates the music. I think it's a great representation of the album as a whole because it looks very mysterious, it looks very grand, and very otherworldly. So, yeah, and I always want people when they look at it to interpret it in their own way. Like, I never want anything to be very literal because art is, we just want to make people think. So, yeah.
So, just about what do you finally for you? What are the main differences between Universe and this new album? Uh, what are the differences for you? What have been the evolution between the two albums?
Um, I think The Unknown is a continuation of Universe. We just took it to a whole new universe. The music is much more cinematic. It's a bit heavier. I think the songs overall are a lot more powerful. They're more versatile and more dynamic. We definitely took it up a notch with the production as well. So I think that's the main difference, is just it's more on a more grander scale. So.
What you know Dave since a long time now. The band exists since 10 years.
Yeah.
How was your collaboration finally with Dave had evolved since the first time you arrived in the band and you begin to work with him?
Yeah. So when we first started, I think it really took us years to figure out how to write music together because we come from such different styles. Dave is like a heavy metal rock guy. I come more from classical music. So the first song we wrote together was In a Dream. And that song, I think, really led the way for us to discover what our sound would, discover how we wanted the sound to define us. And we still actually play that song live. I think we sound completely different from where we started. I think we really found the theme of the band. We found what we wanted the songs to mean, what we wanted the sound to be. It was a long journey. We had a lot of ups and downs with the band, but I think every experience really shaped us into who we are as people, as songwriters, and that really comes across in this new music. So yeah, it's been a journey, and Dave has been my partner in crime for 10 years now, and I'm just excited for the future because we really, I think, Universe and this album definitely defines the band, and we're just gonna keep exploring where the next music, next song takes us, and we're excited.
And on these 10 years, what is the most beautiful encounter you had to date? Most beautiful remembering you get for on these 10 years? You have something that you never forget? The meeting with them?
There's a lot of things. Well, one of the really inspiring things is at the beginning, maybe 3 years in, or 2 or 3 years in, yeah, we went to Nashville to record Immortal Waltz, which I think of it as our first album because that's the album where Dave and I wrote together. Because our album before that, Mask, Dave already had the songs with Robin McCauley and I just re-sang them. So Immortal Waltz, recording that with Michael Wagener in Nashville. Michael, he produced bands like Metallica, Black Sabbath, all the 80s bands. That was really inspiring for me because Michael is it's all about the music for him. And he was so humble and just so welcoming and supportive of our sound. And he really wanted us to, he put us on the way to finding ourselves. So that was a really memorable experience. And of course, our first US tour in the van, driving cross country, having a lot of flat tires and hitting deers on the way. Like we really paid our dues. So we have a lot of really memorable experiences. Going to Iceland to record a music video just because a foundation, Souls of Rock, they paid some expenses, so we were able to get over there. Going to Japan for the first time, doing our European tour for the first time. All of these experiences are, you never forget. So there are different stages of this band, but they all make up our journey as a whole. So yeah.
In all these years spent in the music now, I suppose you have the opportunity to meet a lot of people, of course. But is there somebody, some singer, male or woman, would you really like to work with, to do a duet or something like that? I see that finally there are many bands now who have some special guests on songs. Was it something that you really would like to do? and with a singer.
Yeah. There's a lot of really great singers and bands out there. Um, I always loved Ronnie James Dio. Of course, can't collaborate with him in this life, but um, I love Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor. I think he is very interesting and innovative in a way. When I listen to his instrumental, because he does a lot of soundtracks, I always get ideas of what I would sing over them. So I think he would be really interesting to collaborate with. I love Within Temptation. That would be really cool. But I also listen to a lot of movie soundtracks. So, for example, like Clint Mansell or Hans Zimmer. Um, for me, it would be really interesting to collaborate with people like that as well.
Is there a song you speak to me? We speak about the unknown. It was a really important song for you, but is there a song where in the lyrics was important for you? I mean, very perhaps more near from you, from your own life, or for what you feel.
You mean other songs from other
Another
bands?
song that unknown who is
Oh,
very important for you. I mean.
yeah. Our song In a Dream, that one is very important to me because that kind of set the way for everything. That was the first song Dave and I wrote together. Um, yeah, and there's a song from another band, The Who, um, Love Reign Over Me. We actually are doing a remake of that song, and it comes out in October. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. So, um, yeah, and it was really fun to do a cover, our version of it. But yeah, so In a Dream.
In a dream. Just one or two question about you, because you come from Armenian, finally. What do you think? You were born in Armenia. There are huge culture in Armenia, and what do you get? How close are you finally from your roots? I mean, in a language, in the music, in all the culture of your country. And was it an influence? What kind of influence your country could get on your music and your text and on your
Yeah,
life?
I was lucky to have lived in different countries, I think, because I was born in Armenia, but when I was 3, my family we moved to Moscow, Russia. And then when I was 7, I came back to Armenia for the summer, and that's when I have the strongest, memories of the country. But of course, growing up in Moscow, I remember everything because I lived there till I was 11, and then I kept going back in the summers. Um, so of course, living in Moscow and growing up playing piano, and there's so much culture there, and I was just immersed in the music and arts and dance. I did ballet for most of my life living there. Every other week we would go to museums, we would go to concerts, we would see orchestras, we would see theater. So I was just like overwhelmed with all this art. And I think that played a huge influence on me because, um, you know, being able to play the piano and knowing classical music and seeing all this art growing up probably helps me with the ideas I get now. I mean, I think it's a lot of it is subconscious, but I would imagine it's really made me who I am. So I am able to create what I create. It shaped me into who I am. So I think that was a huge influence. And Armenia has such history, and there's certain mystery of that world because a lot of it is so ancient. And like I remember, as we saw different parts of the countries, and there's just so many very ancient churches and structures, and just the people, I think, really sparked that interest in me with the mystery of the world, with wanting to explore what we might not uh, see in this reality, because there's a lot of spirituality in Armenia. So I think that aspect really influenced my need to kind of explore beyond this life.
Would you like to you tell me about piano? It's very yes, I see always you are always when I see a video you are in piano. Would you like would you want to write perhaps some song with only piano and voice like bands do? I think about Def Leppard. I listened some version with piano and only Joe Elliott and voice, and it was really amazing, you know. Is it something that you would like to do?
Thank you.
Perhaps.
You know, I actually start a lot of the songs just on the piano and the voice, and some songs with the intention of leaving it as the piano as the voice. But as the song kind of comes to life, I start hearing, I'm like, you know, this needs strings, this needs guitars, because I like everything to sound grand and epic and cinematic. So all these songs that I intend to be on the piano and voice turn into big songs with all the instruments I can find. So, but maybe down the line, you know, we do like to do like acoustic type of videos. Like for example, we did the piano video for Alone off of Universe, and we did some of the songs off of this album on just the piano and some acoustic guitar, and it just shows a different side of the song. But I definitely want the song also to have the full version of it as well. So yeah.
So just to finish, time is so quick with you, you know. But it was really a pleasure to speak to you. I mean, what would you say about this album for you? Who is very important that you want people to understand about the band, about this new album, which is very important for the band and for the future. What for when it came in 17 September, people will discover this album. What do you want that they understand about this album and about you too?
Yeah. Well, I want this album to become as special and meaningful to people as it is to us. And I want these songs to transport people to kind of this inspiring and empowering dimension, and hopefully leave the listener with kind of a new energy for them to feel like they are limitless and fearless, and there's so much more that we don't know, that if we have an open mind, it's just a doorway to something great and amazing. And of course I want people to really enjoy the songs and to have fun listening, because it's a really fun album. It's thought-provoking. I love sparking interesting conversations with people. So when, you know, they listen to the songs, please message us and let's talk about you know, all these interesting things. So yeah, just enjoy the album, connect with us, and let's explore the endless possibilities together.
Do you have some idea about the new tour? I think you think about a tour, perhaps in New York or in USA. Is it something that you think?
Yeah, you know, we were gonna go play in the UK in September, but things with the virus are still a little bit makes it difficult to tour. So I think we're gonna focus on just creating more videos and promoting the album till the rest of the year. We have still a lot of things planned, a lot of content to put out, and we will be announcing tours around in the fall, but the tours will start in the new year for us. We might play some local shows here just to celebrate the release of the album, but full on touring, US, Europe, Japan, it would be in the new year. And of course, we would love to come to South America. That's we haven't been yet, also Canada. So we're just looking. We can't wait because we haven't been in almost 2 years.
Really, thank you very much for the interview. It was really a pleasure to speak to you and to speak about this great album and about you and about the band. So thank you very much.
Thank you.